Week 2 of the Vijay government, and Tamil Nadu just witnessed two moments that will be written into its political history. Let's start with the cabinet first. On May 21st, Vijay expanded his cabinet from 10 to 33 ministers, 23 new members sworn in at Lok Bhavan, Chennai. Two of them are Congress MLAs. That needs context. Congress governed Tamil Nadu from 1952 to 1967, three chief ministers. Then the DMK won and the Dravidian era began. Congress never formed government again. For nearly 2 decades, Congress allied with the DMK. They asked for cabinet seats every single time the DMK formed government in 2006, in 2011, and in 2021. Every time the answer was no. MK Stalin's position never wavered. Power sharing does not work in Tamil Nadu politics. That was his response. After the 2026 election results, TVK fell short of a majority. Congress won 5 seats under the DMK alliance. They assessed the situation, backed Vijay instead, and crossed the floor. Congress General Secretary K.C. Venugopal called it a historic occasion. Congress MP Manikam Tagore called it a new chapter. What the DMK never gave Congress in 59 years of cabinet absence, TVK gave them in 2 weeks. Rajesh Kumar is a 50-year-old lawyer and 3-term MLA from Kiliyur in Kanyakumari, one of Congress' most reliable seats in Tamil Nadu. He is also the Congress Legislative Party leader in the state. Now he is a tourism minister. P. Viswanathan won Melur in 2026 as a first-time MLA by just 2,724 votes, a narrow win. Now higher education minister. Two very different profiles. One a veteran, one brand new. Both now inside the government that DMK could not accommodate for 59 years. Now, the second historic moment. For the first time in Tamil Nadu's 74-year political history, 4 women are in the cabinet. Jayalalitha, the only women chief minister the state has ever had, managed 3 women ministers across her tenures. Vijay's government has 4, and all 4 were sworn in within the first 2 weeks. First, Kirtana, 29 years old, political consultant who studied in a Tamil medium government school. MSc in Statistics from Pondicherry University. First woman ever elected from Sivakasi in 7 decades. Defeated a sitting Congress MLA by over 11,000 votes. Now she is the Industries Minister, one of the most critical portfolios in Tamil Nadu's economy. Second, S. Kamali, 28 years old, gave free tuition to poor students before TVK. Campaigned across her constituency in Avinashi, carrying her 4-month-old baby. Defeated a sitting Union Minister by 15,000 votes. Now Animal Husbandry Minister. Third, C. Vijay 50 years old, spent years doing grassroots work with weaving communities and women workers in the Kongu belt. Defeated a former AIADMK minister. Now she is a dairy development minister. Fourth, K. Jagadishwari, former journalist and news editor who came through TVK's ranks, now a social welfare minister. All 4 are first-time MLAs. None of them have a political family background. All 4 own on their own. Now, a story most Tamil Nadu media covered only as a number. Yes, I'm talking about TASMAC. 717 liquor shops are being shut down near schools, temples, and bus stands. The government is also tightening enforcement of the legal drinking age, mandatory ID checks at every outlet. If you do not know, TASMAC earns Tamil Nadu nearly 50,000 crore rupees a year. It is the state's second largest revenue source after property registrations. Closing 717 shops is a social decision. It is very well received by many, but it is also a financial decision. That same money funds hospitals, schools, and roads across Tamil Nadu. The government has not yet announced how that revenue gap will be fulfilled. A thought worth raising. What if instead of the state losing that revenue, corporates, builders, and contractors were redirected to sponsor public causes instead of the commission bribes they have always been used to? Think about that. Roads, schools, community spaces funded by the private sector transparently instead of that money quietly ending up in individual packets, that would be very fulfilling to everyone involved. Now, what is DMK doing? They are not in mourning mode. Udhayanidhi Stalin has been elected DMK's legislative party leader and is now the official leader of the opposition. In his first assembly speech, he challenged the legitimacy of this government. He argued that 108 seats out of 234 is not a majority mandate. Vijay responded publicly. TVK won 35% vote share. DMK's standalone share in 2021, when they won the majority, was only 24%. Udhayanidhi also renewed his Sanatana Dharma comments in the same speech, saying, "What divides people must be eradicated." Vijay was present in the chamber when he said it. DMK's internal revenue this week pointed fingers at campaign strategy failures and a disconnect from younger voters. MK Stalin publicly accepted responsibility for the defeat. Then he said ideology does not change with electoral outcomes. DMK lost this election. They are organizing for the next one. In the background, the AIADMK crisis deepens. The 25 rebel MLAs who voted for Vijay were denied cabinet berths partly due to pressure from left parties and Congress who did not want the government seen as harboring AIADMK members. EPS has filed a disqualification petition against them at the speaker. The rebels filed counter petitions against EPS and his loyalists. Two camps for one party, both fighting for survival. And one more thing, Savuku Sankar, a whistleblower YouTuber with 3 Gundas act arrest under the DMK government, was released by the TVK government. In fact, 2 of those orders were thrown out by the courts, which said the act was being misused to silence him. TVK reviewed the third, found no cause for detention, and revoked it. He walked out. Week 2 done. One last thing worth noting. Most people are watching the Tamil Nadu Assembly live than ever before. The Assembly started streaming sessions online in 2022 under Stalin, who made it happen for the first time in the state history. But under Vijay, the viewership has surged. A man who spent 30 years filling cinema halls is now filling live streams. People who never followed politics are watching assembly debates, floor tests, and ministerial speeches. That kind of public attention on governance is new for Tamil Nadu. And it matters because a government that knows it is being watched by millions tends to behave differently from one that is not. Week 3 starts with a full cabinet, 2 historics first, a vocal opposition, and a fractured AIADMK still searching for its footing. I'll see you in the next video.